What mindset shifts do leaders need to make during times of huge change?
First of all, mindset shift is the most important thing, right? Like it is like leadership in a time like where we are navigating with AI does not start with anything except mindset shift. The question becomes like, what is the mindset that we want to have? And here's my simple answer. If we were map readers and the mindset that we had was here's path A, here's destination, and here's like a nice path that we can trace and get to, you have to give that up and you have to have an explorer's mindset. And an explorer does not know the destination, does not even know which direction that they need to head, but they will explore, they will stay close to the ground, they will experiment with different paths and different avenues, and they will carve out something completely new. They thrive in not knowing the answer. The map reader thrives in knowing the answer. And that is the mindset shift. If you can embrace not knowing the answer, in fact, thriving in not knowing the answer and finding ways to get to the answer and carving out a path, then you can navigate this and probably anything else that comes in your life.
Again, just tying this back to the book Blindspotting that we were talking about earlier, it's just perfect. So Dr. Ferguson refers to it as knowers versus seekers. Instead of explorers, seekers, but same exact principles.
What I love about your response, Yamini, and obviously I agree with everything you said, is you didn't just talk about it, but earlier you actually modeled what that looks like and how you're doing that. So that I find super powerful for anybody that's trying to find that confidence in themselves. The only thing I would add, so I completely agree that the era of leadership of knowing is gone, that pretending that you know is actually a very big tell. And I think that everyone really feels that and is having their own responses to how comfortable they are with acknowledging it. But the truth is, the sooner that we give up the need to be the knowers, the all knowers, and have our experience be the only tool that we use, I think is like we have to let that go. And then I think to your other point about explorer mindset, I also believe that it's in that opening up to the possibilities of the multiple futures and opening up to the collective wisdom of a group of people navigating together versus an individual leader having all of the answers. And I also think your comments earlier about learning agility and how critical it is for all of us to recognize that the only way that we really provide true leadership is for us to be willing to do the hard work of learning for ourselves and doing that again in a collective way as opposed to an individualized way, because it is going to be impossible for any one of us to know what to do next. But I truly do believe that the group of us together can find a path forward. And I think the path that we will find will be way more interesting and way more powerful than the one we would have experienced if we just stayed in our traditional playbooks.
Another tie back to your leadership approach and this book, Blindspotting, was when you were thinking about taking the CEO position and you went and sought disagreement potentially, right? You went to the board and you wanted to know, like, why shouldn't I do this?
Yeah.
Why is this a bad idea? What did you say about me, right? You weren't looking for people to just pump you up and say, oh, you'll be great, Yamini. Go for it. You'll be wonderful. You wanted to know, like, what was the real shit? what was the real scoop, right?
Exactly.
And that was something that that Kirsten talked about as well, is like how important as a leader to not believe your own, that you are just a flower of beautiful smells, right? That your
Totally.
shit stinks. And
Yes.
why does it stink, right? So, well done, Yamini.